goes to the middle. I have to teach you something very important about children. Right now, we have a huge problem with children who are diagnosed ADHD. ADHD means attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, right? This is, you can forget nearly everything else I taught you, but you have to remember that there is, in the real world, there is no such sickness. There is no such disorder as ADHD. I know the doctors have it in their book, and they treat it as if it was a disease. It's not. It's non-existent. ADHD simply tells us two things. The child can't pay attention, and the child cannot sit still. Isn't that amazing? That's all it tells us. But it's not a specific disease like tuberculosis. Sure, there's tuberculosis. There's depression. There's schizophrenia. But there is no such disease out there as ADHD. See? It's a conglomeration of symptoms. That's all it is. Now, I gave you on this page, you can look at that. They're not all there, but it gives you an idea on page 11 some of the causes of attention problems. So when a child has an attention problem, you have to figure out, why does the child have an attention problem? We don't, but you know what we do in our society? We just call it ADHD, and then we give them Ritalin. See? But that is very wrong. In my books, it's unethical. I don't believe in it. No doctor should do that. But we're doing it all the time, and it's the accepted thing. And because all the doctors are doing it, it's quite all right. Well, it's not all right. We have to do better than that. I'll tell you what's wrong with it. Imagine if we talk about cars, and for a moment, you would go out to start your car, and of course it wouldn't start now because we've been here so long. And so you come in and you say, Father Larry, do you know anything about cars? Well, I said, of course, I'm a doctor. I know everything. Tell me, what happened? It's my car won't start. Oh, dear, tell me. Now, did you go in the car? You sat down? Yes, I checked that off in my doctor's book. And then you closed the door. Did you put on your seatbelt? Good. Did you put your foot on the brakes? Good, you had that. You had the other foot on the accelerator? Fine. You had it in park? Good. Okay. And then you turned the key? Did you turn the key? Yes, you turned the key. What happened? Nothing? Nothing happened? Huh. According to my doctor's book, your car has WSD. WSD, you've never heard of it? That's the won't start disorder. Oh. Now you are so relieved. Finally, you know what's wrong with your car. It has WSD. But the doctor reassures you that it's not catchy. It's not catchy. You can park beside other cars. The other cars won't get sick. See? Oh, my goodness. And guess how this diagnosis was made? The doctor asked you, why did you bring your child here today? Well, doctor, he has a problem. Like, we noticed that he can't pay attention in school, can't pay attention at home, and he can't sit still. He's climbing the walls. Okay. And then the doctor looks it up in his book and says, oh, dear, I hate to tell you this, but your child has ADHD. ADHD, doctor, what is that? That means he can't pay attention and he can't sit still. Oh. That's exactly what you told the doctor. So, isn't that amazing? We do that all the time. So when your child has ADHD, I suggest bring him to our clinic. We'll find out what's the trouble. Because, for instance, a child may have bad eyes. If he can't move his eyes, of course he can't pay attention. See? And if he has bad ears, if he can't focus his ears, he can't pay attention. If the child has anxiety, they can't pay attention. It's one of the first signs of anxiety is a lack of concentration. We had a little boy from Alberta sent by one of the best child psychiatrists at the University of Alberta. They had this boy on Ritalin for 2 years. up to 60 milligrams a day. That's enough for a large horse, you know. You should, 10 milligrams is lots, but 3 times a day they were giving him 20 milligrams. And the parents said, it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to work. We have tests, we can try it. We have computer tests and we can tell whether the child can concentrate better with Ritalin or without it. We don't have to guess at that. We can test that. We have tests for that. Very accurate. And here, this poor child, we tested him without the Ritalin. Oh, he was quite a bit better than with the Ritalin. But he had been on Ritalin for 2 years. But guess what? He was very anxious. They never checked anxiety. They never bothered with that. We check every child that comes in the door. We look for anxiety and look for depression, because if they have that, they can't pay attention, you see. But they don't check that. They just say, oh, he can't pay attention, can't sit still, he has ADHD. See? Well, this child, you can imagine, we gave him a test and his anxiety was higher than 99% of children. Higher than 99%. And therefore, we should have been getting him to relax. When people are anxious, you get them to relax and they're not as anxious anymore. But instead of getting him to relax, we gave him Ritalin. Large doses. Was like giving him 5 or 6 cups of black coffee. Bango! And of course, it made him worse. But they don't check it. And so beware of ADHD. When they say he has ADHD, for goodness sakes, let's figure out why he cannot pay attention. Some of them have brain damage. But if they have brain damage, you have to find out. We can test for brain damage, and then we can train the brain, and we can get rid of the brain damage and make it work well. We can teach a child to pay attention. We can do that with brain waves, and we can do it with computer programs. But nobody worries about that. We just diagnose them with ADHD, and we put them on Ritalin for as long as they live. It's amazing. And so we have to know that. Sometimes they can be a bit psychotic. They can have childhood schizophrenia. I gave a few reasons there why children cannot pay attention. I just wanted you to know about ADHD. That's something to watch. It's an okay diagnosis as long as we remember that it doesn't tell us any more than we already know. It tells us they can't pay attention, can't sit still.